Good morning and welcome back. Today is the 14th of July. We're almost through the middle of the month, and I'm going to go through my pre-market prep. Before we do, I'd like to see what news could move the market. You can't ignore that big 8:30 candle, big spike up into yesterday's high. Also a 7,600 psychological number. That was a CPI print. We do have another high volatility event coming in at 10 a.m. So just be wary of that. Fed Chairman Walsh test advice. So just be wary of what you're doing at 10 a.m. today. We do have FOMC members speaking throughout the day as well. 12:41, 2:55, and then 4 p.m. No, not 4 p.m. Something else. So just be wary of that. Obviously, there's a massive big print there, so it's going to be interesting to see how the day goes. I'm going to start off with the weekly, work my way down. Excuse me. That's better. Let's just remove that. I'll keep that on there for now. So on the weekly, we can see we are kind of below average volume. We are heading up into this overbought area. We have put in this kind of head and shoulders pattern, and we are starting to get close to that right shoulder line again at the moment. And while we're below that right shoulder, I'm treating all of this as a right shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. The main area is that area, that major support area. We've got around 7,400, and that is that weekly support, which is also the neckline. You can call it neckline. If we do lose that, notice the volume void below. And we've got this big major area here as well. Massive big volume shelf. The point of control ones for it. Psychological number. We've got the 50 moving average coming up into that as well. So let's keep an eye on that zone as well. There's not really much to report. We are inside last week's range, and we are technically inside the last few months' range as well. So it's a tough trading conditions right now. This reason I start with a higher time frame so we can work our way down so we get a general idea of what we can expect. Looking at the daily, yesterday we had a red day on slightly higher volume than the previous two green days. Notice how the red days are generally slightly higher volume than the previous green days, showing that at the moment there's a little bit of indecision, maybe a slight crack. I'm still holding on to this right shoulder area here, and I've left the head and shoulders pattern in, but it could be that entire shoulder. Notice also how we are riding that 50 moving average. We came down into it on the end of June and we bounced, came down again on it at the start of July, we bounced, and we came back close to it today, potentially a bounce as well. Volume shelf wise, you can see massive big volume shelf, which is this entire zone, which we don't need a volume profile tool to show us that. We can just look to see where it's mostly congested and where all the candles are trading, and you know where the amount of volume is. But that's where we are. Look at this daily range. We're smack bang inside this daily range. So the market is just really tough at the moment. Tough trading. It's tough conditions. There's not enough follow through. We're getting in and whipping out, whipsawing around, but we are inside a daily range. It's really tough, and we really want to get out of this range. Whether we get out for it and put in a new high, or whether we break that 50 moving average and put in a new low, I don't know. But while it's in these conditions, I'm just scalping at the moment. I'm trying to put in some longer moves in my trades. I've got a different strategy I'm just trialing at the moment. I can talk about that later during the live session. But we are inside that range, and it's a really, really tough area. Today's volume is pretty low. There's not really much more to talk about other than that major support area we've got here. We've got a support area there as well. But keep an eye on that 73.50, 74.50 area. And then we've obviously got this area of confidence where we are right now. So let's just drop down to the hourly and pick up some levels for today. These are the areas I'm watching today. One thing I was quite excited about until this CPI candle came in was this potential head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And then this morning, I saw this neckline break, come back and retest. And I'm watching down here, and I'm still going to watch down there. for a short. I'm looking for a break and retest short under yesterday's low, pre-market low. I really want to see maybe something set up there. When I was watching it this morning, I saw lots of delta divergences as well, and kind of wetting my lips a little bit. I was thinking about taking it in the pre-market when we got down here, but I didn't. I wasn't really paying attention to charts. I don't really pay attention until 2 p.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern time. But then we had that CPI candle came in. It would have been nice to see it going down in that direction, because that would have confirmed the pattern. But we've still got this area to play off, to play. We could also be looking at that inverse head and shoulders pattern as well. Maybe it's on the other side, but again, I'm not a big fan of this big candle. And look at it at the moment. Big buyers came in, sellers sold off. So that shows us this area, 7600, is an area to watch today as well. So for me, if we get back up into that 7600, all the way up to 7615, 7610 area, I'm going to be looking for potential weakness and a rejection. It's yesterday's high as well, pre-market high. If we break through that area, I'm looking for a break and retest back down in that zone. So I'm looking for two plays up here. I'm looking for a rejection in that area, around 7610 to 7600. Otherwise, looking for a break and retest long, but we need to clear pre-market high and come back down and retest yesterday's high. So they're the two plays I'm really looking for. I'm looking for a potential break and retest down here. I'm also considering a bounce down here as well. And the reason for that, let me just zoom out. There you go, you can see the reason now. Massive big volume shelf here. Lots of areas of confluence, a bottom pivot, we had lots of these bottom tails in there as well. Bottom tail, bottom tail, bottom tail, and then all these bottom tails earlier with some topping tails as well. So if we come back down into that zone, I'm watching for two plays. I'm looking for a bounce to continue this little uptrend we're putting in, or I'm looking for a complete break and retest of 75.55. So that's a dual layer, that's a dual setup there. There's a dual setup up here as well. For opening range breakouts or break and retest, I don't really want to take anything while we're inside this CPI candle. I'll be happier if we can get below this point of control, if we can get below all this confluence and all of this consolidation, and we can break down through yesterday's low, and we can break down through pre-market low. So there's a lot of reasons to like an opening range breakdown down in this 75.55 region. Ideally, I want to see it clear pre-market low, but I'll be watching that. Again, if the opening range sets up in this area, we'll be taking out yesterday's high and pre-market high. We have a potential gap fill as well, so that might work in our favour. So they are the plays I'm really looking for. Let's just zoom out a bit. Drawing in the trend line. Let's just draw this trend line in. Depends where you want to put it. There, it could be there. I'll go where there's the most amount of touches of candlesticks. You know, it's a zone, don't forget. So I'm looking at that area there. So if we get back down into that zone, I do like this area for a bounce. Not only is it kind of bounce off this trend of this trend line, it also is an area where we have a little bit of a volume shelf, tops and bottoms of pivots and candles, bottoms of pivots there, tops of pivots here, bottoms and bottoms, and maybe another bottom here. So I'm looking for a bounce down here. So if we're taking a break and retest short, watch that area for a bounce. We do have 7,500 psychological number, so keep an eye on that. That is a number to be wary of. Over the last few days, it's kind of been ignored. We've not really done much. We kind of held it here, but the last 2 days we just sailed straight through it like a hot knife through butter. But we can keep an eye on that area. But I'm watching this zone, and that is pretty much my levels. If you're in the Discord, I put some premium Discord. My levels I'm watching on the premium Discord. I just copied and pasted it as an image into the free Discord, just to give you a general idea of what I put in there every day. And also, most days those levels work. I'm pretty sure if I go through them right now, let's just bring them up. There you go. My watch list. I normally mark off the ones which work. So that's 1, 2, 3 from yesterday. I'm not sure about the day before. I didn't check that or the day before. But if I check it, I normally mark it off. 3 triggered on that day. I've been in and out. So 1 triggered on that day. generally 2 triggered on that day, 1 triggered on that day, 3 triggered on that day. Generally, I don't mark them off every day, but only if I'm sitting in front of it and I notice it plays off. And I'm pretty sure if I go through the more recent ones, for example, the 9th of the 7th, I'm pretty sure they played off out as well. Let's have a look. 9th of the 7th. Oh, I've lost it already. There you go. Move it out of the way. There you go, Thursday. I can already see an opening range breakout there. 10.55 on slightly, well, on increased volume over the previous screen. So let's just look at my levels, just confirm. I generally mark them up. I was at a funeral Friday, so I would have checked this anyway. So break and retest a pre-market high, 75.55. Here you go, 75.55. You could have got a scalp in there, so that worked. And then if we lost it, a break and retest, kind of broke it there, came back and retested that zone. So that worked 2 places. That's on Thursday. Break and retest a pre-market low, 75.30. We didn't get down there. Hang on, this is what I normally do when I mark it up. I just put that in. 74.44. 74.77. No, we didn't get down into 74 cents. 7,400, 7,600 rejection. 7,600. Oh, we didn't quite get there. So there you go. One would have worked on that day. That would have been the break and retest of pre-market high, 75.55. And pre-market high would have been that area there. So we probably would have found a nice scalp break and a retest that candle there with a big green candle. And you could have also taken it later. Opening range didn't play out then. Opening range was equal volume. My rules have to look for higher volume, so I wouldn't have taken that. But it worked. A break and retest of opening range would have worked as well. As a breakout, it came back and retested it within, what's that? Within 1.5 points. So there you go. Just want to give you a general idea of my levels I put in every day. So if you're not a premium member, take a look and have a sign up. But there you go, that's in every day, and I give reasons I'm watching as well. There's not much more to really talk about on ES right now, so I'm going to quickly flick through the others. Let me just put my chart, my Discord back. I like things set up in their certain places because it's good for my consistency. Good morning, Mayo, welcome back. If you've not already, please hit the like button. Really do appreciate it. It helps the YouTube algos find this channel. SPY next, back to the hourly chart. Again, we've got this big topping tail right into yesterday's high. We've got this big zone here. So let's keep an eye on 748, 746 for a bounce. Even 750 is a psychological number. So let's watch what happens when we come down into that 750 area. Last time we came down, we dipped into it, bounced, came down, dipped into it yesterday, bounced, and then we've not yet dipped back into it. So let's see what happens today. Obviously, we've got this trend line, not a very straight line. But we can also look for a break and retest below that point of control. And obviously ORBs, same as we just talked about. SPX next. We got this trend line forming. We are going to be pretty much around this 75.50 area when we open. Keep an eye on yesterday's high. There was a volume shelf. Big area of confidence, tops of pivots. 7,600 areas to watch, and then 7,500 below, which is this zone here. Watch that for a bounce. Again, I use SPX as a confirmation signal. I don't trade it. So if I'm coming into a psychological number, or I'm coming into a big confidence area or a big point of control, then I'll be wary on my shorts. I don't want to go short into that on ES. And maybe if I'm looking for a bounce, then if that's setting up, then that'll be another confirmation. NQ next. We are, despite that big CPI candle, remember yesterday I set up this midline point as well. Look where we are, showing relative weakness compared to the actual overall ES. We're right smack bang in this bottom half. What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything yet unless we break structure. but we are holding this trend line. We've got this second trend line there. For me, there's two areas to watch. We've got this little volume shelf. We've got this area of confluence and 29,700. Yesterday's high as well. I like the break and retest of previous days or slightly key levels. So watch for a bounce into that 30,000. We couldn't break 30,000 today, so that's a stopping point here at the moment. If we lose pre-market low, I like the break and retest short. We almost did it yesterday. Look at this. We broke it, we came back and retested it, and then we sold off. Hopefully somebody picked that up. The trend line's a guide. It's not really an accurate level to get in, but you could have probably found a break and a retest around this area and short. There's a nice little hourly GBI as well, but we've got all these bottom tails. So bottom tail, bottom tail, bottom tail, right into that 29,331. Remember that level was in place before these bottom tails came in, and look how it's honoured that level. Again, these levels are pretty accurate. And where is that? It's a area confluence. Bear in mind, I eyeball these as well. It's not accurate, but look where we came in, exactly there yesterday. So 29.33 is an area we can watch for a potential bounce or a target for a short. If we get over pre-market high, I like it long to retest the top end of this trend, but we need to, or even to retest 30,000. Just be wary of that. Otherwise, look for a rejection up there as well, and that's pretty much it. And a bounce off yesterday's high. QQQ next. Bit like ES, we could say we're putting in this flag pattern as such. A break and retest over pre-market high may break that pattern. A break and retest of pre-market high may come back to retest that pattern. We've got a volume shelf in the middle. I'm not a big fan of anything in this range. It's horrible at the moment. But if we bounce off yesterday's high, we see buyers coming. Keep an eye on a bounce in this area coming into it right now. Oil next, up 3%. One of the strongest stocks today. Bitcoin is as well by the looks of it. We're starting to curve around now, as you can see. Let's look for a good place. So for me, the only place I like is this zone. Anywhere in that zone. So if we pull back down into 76, I like that for a bounce, which is kind of bouncing off of this zone. I like the bounce off of yesterday's high around 78 as well. And obviously we got yesterday's low in this big area of confluence. That's our break. That's our breakout of the trend line, and a kind of a retest, and didn't really come back down that far, but it definitely retested the pivots there, so you could have used that as a breakout signal. So 76, let's have a look, zoom out again. Because kind of a lot of gap there, so let's just put in, I'm going to put in that area there as well. 85 is a new level. So if we have a breakout over pre-market high, keep an eye on this 85 area, big area of confluence, and the starting of this volume shelf. We are extended from the 50 right now, so let's look for a pullback. We'll be about at 77 to 76. That's pretty much it with oil. Gold, again, big green candle in the open. We're breaking this little downtrend there, but we're not breaking the overall hourly or daily trend line. Just see where we are. That's our trend line. So I like a rejection around that 41.20. If we can break out over that area, I like a break and retest long, and we break in this trend line. Again, this trend line is not a line, it's kind of a zone. So that's our zone there. So even though we're looking for a break and retest, we need significant breaks and a pullback for it to confirm. Otherwise, I like the bounce back down here again. 4,000. Did we say that yesterday? 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. Look where we bounced, 4,000. So there we are. I like the bounce at 4,000 again. Zooming out. There's no real big major areas until we get back out. Yeah, so 4,000 is the only place I like for a bounce. RTY next. Big top and tail took out that trend line, but we're holding this confluence area here around 3,040. we've got this area here as well. We're kind of broken back down. So here's a plan for RTY. If we can get back over 3,000, I like it long. I don't like any longs until we're over 3,000. Otherwise, I like the rejection back down. Look for a break and retest of pre-market low, yesterday's low. We are starting to curve around now, so potentially that's a play to watch. Volume shelf, and let's just put in another level, which we just generated this last week. Keep an eye on that 29.50 area for a bounce, and also a area of a target as well. Finally, YM, and not finally, Bitcoin YM. We've broken that trend line. We're kind of playing the underside of it right now. Not a very convincing CPI candle. Big bottom tail, big topping tail. So indecision right now. So for me, what do I like? I like the breakdown below yesterday's low into pre-market low. We've broken that trend line, and look where CPI retested, right on that trend line. We are below the 50 moving average and below the 200. So showing relative weakness on the YM right now, or the Dow Jones. So we're right inside yesterday's range. So just scalp it, or just keep an eye on it, have patience. But look for a breakdown under yesterday's low. Psychological numbers, 52,000 below. We've got 53,000 above. Keep an eye on them as well. And then finally, Bitcoin is the strongest stock here at the moment, for up 3%. Are we seeing an inverse head and shoulders pattern? Is this our neckline? If so, let's look for a breakout over 64 long. We've got a target 67. I'm going to draw that in so we've got future reference. Kind of like that, something like that, just as a future reference. I like it long over 64. Let's zoom in a bit. But I don't like it long with this, well, it's really extended like that. I want to see it break out, come back down and retest 64, maybe go sideways for a bit and then break back out. Look for strength from buyers. Otherwise, keep an eye on yesterday's high, watch for a bounce down there. Also at 63,000, psychological number, and we have a volume shelf, big area of confluence, and a point of control. So they're the only areas, and that is pretty much it for today. Looks like we're going to open midway on that CPI candle. Let's take a look at order flow. Let's open up my Discord. Large orders. We've got 76.10, exactly at yesterday's high. 76.20, a little bit above. 7,700, way above. And then below 74.48, nothing below. So nothing close at the moment. There was some divergences earlier. Look at this. You can see price was going sideways. Cumulative Delta was selling off. So buyers were absorbing all this selling pressure. And then suddenly we had this happen. So maybe that's something we can look into as a future strategy before big news events, to kind of gauge an idea of the direction. There was a number of divergences as well today. You can see here, price is selling off. Delta was kind of putting in higher highs, and then we broke out. And then price is selling off. Delta's putting highs in, and then we broke out. Same here, we sold off, putting in highs, and then we sold, and then we broke out. So we could have played 3 deltas today. We sold off here, price put in higher highs, and then we broke out 4. That's kind of in line. Here, price is selling off, Delta was breaking out or putting in higher highs, and then it broke out again. Again, this is going into like pre-market. And then you can clearly see price putting in lows, Delta putting in highs, and then it's in line with each other. And then here, price was holding, Delta was selling off. That, you know, we don't know that. Generally, price follows Delta, but there's a big news event, so that was just buyers absorbing all this selling pressure. Loads of selling coming into that, but buyers weren't letting it go down. There's no divergences really right now. In fact, there is a little one at 9.15, price was selling off, Delta's just going sideways, and then it broke out. But let's just see what happens when it opens in 3 minutes. I'm going to see what the opening candle gives us. If we take out this trend line, I might be tempted on a scalp into yesterday's high, 7600 area. I'm wary of 7600 above. Otherwise, if we lose this trend, then potentially we've got yesterday's low, pre-market low. I want to see an opening range, take out these zones down here below 75.50. So I'm watching for two areas, remember. I'm watching for a bounce in this area. I'm also looking for a break and retest or an opening range. Same here, I'm looking for an opening range breakout up here, over 76,000. Market opens in 2 minutes. Let's get my ORB buttons out. Okay. So remember this top screen, I've got my 250k Apex account in there. So I'm trading that slightly differently. Did okay yesterday in the end. I took the loss when we was trading live, and then I took the break and retest of pre-market low yesterday. Not of ORB, and it was a great short. In fact, was that one of the plays I was watching yesterday? Oh yeah, it's one of the ones. I know I didn't add it in, but it's one of the plays I always watch for. Edit below 58, and then I just added that in because that was an area I don't mention the break and retest because that's part of the strategy. If you are if you follow my ORB, I've got a book on Amazon, ORB playbook, and that goes through every single play, the break and retest. In fact, I've got it in front of me. So, and I recommend it. It's got all really good examples in as well. And I've got all my rules, my strategy. Here we go. Literally open up to the page. The break and retest rules. So all you need is this guide. And for £15, oh no, for £13, I think it's $14.99 US dollars or $12.99 in the UK, British pounds. It's a bargain. You know, it's over, how many pages is it? There's no page numbers in there. I didn't put page numbers in there on purpose, but I think it's over 80 pages and 77 pages, I think it is. And even at the back, I've got a checklist as well, which you can follow. There you go, pre-market checklist, and it's really good. I'm writing a new one right now. It's my second book. It's the Mental Toughness Playbook, which will be out hopefully in the next 6 months. I've just started over in the last few days. I've written a couple of chapters. I've started it a while back, but I kind of just looking back into it. I'm creating a series of these books. So this is volume 1, and the Mental Toughness Playbook is volume 2. Okay, so we didn't have that buy, we didn't have that breakout. So we're looking, I like keeping an eye on the opening candle. Looking at Delta, we've got aggressive buyers coming in. And look at that, my new code I've just added yesterday said that there was a slight delay in the data coming in, and then it went back to live. I optimized it heavily yesterday, so my footprint charts should now only display new data coming in, and it won't try and do the backlog where you have loads of data coming in, which is why it got a little bit delayed. It was trying to process the backlog of all the ticks, and then it was ignoring the live ticks, and now it processes live ticks first, backlog later. And it should always be green now, so I made it so it goes green and red so I can see whether there's a backlog or not. And just then it worked perfectly. I missed it on the CPI, but I opened my charts just as the CPI candle was happening, and but it was pretty much instant, the candlestick. So I know that little update to the code will make a massive difference. Good morning, Craig. Welcome back. And good morning to everyone else. So we're having a bit of a negative print coming off on the open. Lack of buyers, only 2 aggressive buyers on the footprint. In fact, quite low volume at the moment. This is our first big volume candle and that's almost 2 minutes after the market opened. Delta imbalances, I'm sorry, selling imbalances, buying imbalances, tough at the moment. Remember, we are inside yesterday's range, smack bang in the middle of yesterday's range. Makes it a tough area, time to trade. So I'm not looking for any trades at the moment because I don't like it smack bang in the middle here. We've got an area potentially for a bounce. Yesterday's low, pre-market low, that's a bounce. If we lose that area, I like it for a break and retest short. And again, if we break out over yesterday's high, which is the top of that candle, then I like it long, but I like that area for rejection as well. We have 7,600 above us. It looks like we're rejecting it. Could we have found a scalp here? Possibly, when we saw lack of buyers on the ask, lack of volume as well. It wasn't really that convincing. More sellers there than buyers. More sellers. We'd have some buyers up there. So yeah, not that convinced at the moment. Remember, 10 a.m. we got that major news. Fed speaker. Not speaker, Fed chairman. Oh, it's hot today in here. Oh, it feels hot. 26.6 inside, it's 28 outside. It feels warm because I've just been cleaning out my chicken coop. I'm spraying it down, just prevents bugs and mites and stuff. And I just did that just before I started, when I came on the machine here. So far so good. Performance on this is looking good. But then it's quite slow at the moment. We've got big volume coming in. Look at the buyers coming in. Well, there's a divergence right now. So let's look for potential long. A break of the 2 minute down train. Got aggressive buyers putting in higher highs, higher lows. Look at this divergence. You can see it really from here. Price is putting in lower lows. Delta's putting in higher highs. You can just about see it there. Let's see whether price breaks out long. This could be the bounce we're waiting for at 75.50. If we get down to there, then maybe that's the bounce. And the divergence will be one of our confirmation patterns. So we've got the first 5 minutes in now. Bottom tails on the divergence, on the delta I meant. Remember, we're only going for A+ setups today. Only A+ setups. So no gut feeling trades, no anticipation trades. I've been guilty of that over the last few weeks. No trades where you can't define your risk before you get in. So you don't want to be getting into a trade and not knowing where your target is or where your stop is. You know, in fact, when I was writing a chapter in the book yesterday, I added a section in called a 10-second timeout. Where if you can't take 10 seconds before a trade to think about these things, then it shouldn't be a trade. I know sometimes I jump into these trades, these bounces, without speaking about them, and I say I had to take that. But I'm more thinking about the 5 minute, 2 minute candlestick patterns, you know, like the ORBs. Scalping's a little bit different. Sometimes you just have to take it, but it's still a valid 10-second timeout. You know, look at the trade, don't just jump in. So now we've had more than 10 seconds to think about this. We talked about it in the pre-market. I know where I'm going to get what I'm looking for a long. I know where I'm looking for a breakout as well, which is happening right now on the 2 minute chart. So I'm watching for buyers now. Lack of volume, lack of sellers. So look at this. At the low, we had a big delta flip here. We had minus 465, then a small positive delta, negative delta on a green candle. minus 42, negative, small delta, small negative, a small positive, a small negative, and a bigger positive, and an even bigger positive delta. So it looks good for a long. Look at the buyers coming in, the delta on the right. So now I'm looking for a long. I was about to say, I'm waiting for a pullback first. We may have just got this. Let's just zoom out. Look at this. We've got a pivot area. We might see it bounce around here. I'm looking for a long over 75, 72. I'm going long now. Over 72. That's my target. That's my entry. I'm targeting the ORB high, which is around 75.82. I guess first 10 ticks. Hopefully we can get to 82. That's the orb high. We've got a big order sitting there as well. And then I want to get to break even as quickly as I can. This is my scalping strategy. It's not my main ORB strategy. I don't like getting to break even quickly on ORBs. We've got a big delta still coming in. We've got a negative delta there. Are we going to push out, or are we just going to fail here? Lots of buyers at the highest. So it looks good still for the long. Lots of aggressive buyers coming in right now. Are we going to hit my 20 tick? Here we go. That's so close. I can see the buyers coming in. Come on then. That's good. That's 20 ticks. I'm at break even. How easy was that trade? And remember I said about the 10-second timeout? We had loads and loads of time to think about it. So I'm now scalping because this is my Apex account. I'm trailing pivots and point of controls. In fact, I'm going to trail the next candle purely because, we've got all these, sorry, I went too high. We've got buying imbalances. The buyers are here. So if we lose these buying imbalances, then we're losing that candle. So I'm happy to trail there. So right at the ORB high now, or the first 5 minute, not the ORB, let me rephrase. We're at the 5 minute candle high. So I'm trailing, I want to trail the next candle if I can, but I'm holding at 75, 77. I'm trailing up to 75.80. Again, because I'm scalping 3 ES contracts. I have the drawdown can eat into this quite quickly. Hence why I don't want to get to come back to break even. Here we go, got a bit of a red. We're expecting red because I trail so tight. I expect to see a trail. I don't really hit many 80 tick runs, but when I do, they're great. I've got my third target at 80 ticks. That just gives me space to trail. So we're kind of starting to, we've got some big volume coming in now. This could be ending volume, so I'm just going to tighten up a little bit. When I say big volume, we had like 1,300, 900, 1,300, 2,000, 2.6k, 500. There we go. And then I've tightened up and I'm out. Let me just make sure I'm definitely out. Go to my orders. There's no order. Oh, it says I'm still got one on. And then my rhythmic says I'm okay. Have I got an order still sitting here somewhere? It says I've got an order sitting here. ES sell 27. Let's get rid of it anyway. When I say an order, I always look at my NinjaTrader. Look, because I had 2 orders sitting there, and this happened yesterday. I got triggered in when something didn't come out properly, and my orders weren't closed by my ATM strategy, and I got triggered in. So that's it. That's a nice easy trade. Let me go back. I don't have my P&L open, so I don't know what profit I made. I imagine it's about 500 or so. No, probably more than that. I think that last runner I made 500 on. So probably close to 700-800 on that trade. And look at that for an out. I got out literally on the break and retest and the pullback. Good morning, Sonny. Welcome back. Andrew says, nice trade. I took the VWAP bounce, but I like the confidence from buyers stepping up. Good job. Yeah, well done. So good job for everyone who's taken some trades. Again, remember, it's really, really tough trading. It's right, we're inside yesterday's range. We're inside a weekly, daily range. We're inside a monthly range, and we might be in a stage 3 market. We talk about these stages a lot, which makes it tough trading. So that's why I'm scalping at the moment. Look, it may just carry on going and hit yesterday's high, so be it. And you know, I always look back, would it have hit my break? It would never hit my break even, but it would have pulled my drawdown would have pulled back a little tiny bit at this point. But I'm not fussed. It's a good trade. That's the idea of scalping. We're just scalping base hits. Let's open up my Rhythmic. $780 over 5 of my accounts. That's okay, isn't it? Sonny says news in 17 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Watch out for that. So now I'm done with my scalping, especially with news coming up as well. Yesterday I was done with my scalping and I got back in on another trade and I took a loss on it. Or partial loss. Remember, I walked away and I got thumped by a massive big slippage candle when Trump decided to manipulate the market. Send out a tweet. That's what I meant to say. And then I did get into another trade on a break and retest of the ORB and I got that back in the end. But that's not the mentality. The mentality is not to get it back. I probably shouldn't have said that. But I got back to where I was on my first trade. So I traded 2 extra trades, used up all that extra mental capacity, and I got back to where I was after the first trade. So I need to get stricter on that as well. I think it was more boredom trading. So that's in my journal as well. Boredom trading and probably revenge trading. Even though I don't really get that often. But, you know, the opening range break and retest wasn't an A++ setup. It was a good setup, but wasn't an ideal setup. Wasn't the massive amount of volume on a break. I had slightly better volume. So it wasn't an A+ setup, and it was a bit later than I would normally take it. So I think that was more down to revenge trading. But, you know, another section I added into my mental toughness playbook was about good trade, good outcome, good trade, bad outcome, bad trade, good outcome, and then bad trade, bad outcome. And the one you want to watch out for there is the bad trade, good outcome, because that gives you a false sense of security. You want to be careful of that. So I was just writing a little bit about that yesterday, and it's kind of fresh in my mind right now. That's why I remembered it. And yesterday, my ORB break and retest, that's what made me think about it, was probably I wouldn't say a bad trade, but it wasn't a good trade. So it's borderline bad trade, good outcome. So I don't want that to affect my trading. Hopefully that makes sense. We've got the ORB in place now. It's quite a narrow range ORB. I do like the long outside of this. As long as we get good risk to reward into yesterday's high, 7600 is above as well. We want to get at least 1.5R. But we do have news. We just saw my little news indicator pop up, upcoming. That's there. You can see it at the top of my 5-minute chart. That pops up as a reminder so that I don't take trades when news is pending. But we've got 15. No, what's the time? News is at 10. Yeah, we've got 15 minutes until news. So if this ORB adds greater volume than the previous green, then it could be a good outcome. We don't want a massive big candle size. We want a big, decent candle size and get good 1 to 2 hour. Be great into yesterday's high. And then we also want to be out before the news, way before the news. Look at this though, Cumulative Delta. Even though price was selling off here, Delta is still looking strong. So there's another Delta divergence we could have taken. And that would have been at 9.43, was that? 9.38. 9.38. Oh, that was probably the trade I took, wasn't it? Yeah, well, that's a trade I took as well. That's why we had extra strength in it. Divergence break. It was a breakout as well. I think that's why I was watching. Sorry, where's the other Delta I was looking at? It was this one here. So we got a negative red candle on a small Delta. We didn't have the Delta follow through as much. But we are getting a lot of aggressive buying coming in, even though we're getting some little pullbacks as well, like we're seeing now. Again, the ORB candle has to satisfy the strict rules we have in place. And those rules are higher volume than the previous candle, even better if it's higher than the previous green candle, showing intent from buyers. It has to open above the midpoint and it has to close above the opening range high. We don't want it coming into news. I've gone brain dead. Ideally with a trend as well. So, and obviously it's inside yesterday's range and inside that CPI candle. So you have to treat it more as a scalp, which is why I say if we can get 1 hour out of it, 1.5 hour, that's going to be good enough for this market. If we're in a trending market, then we can look for 3 hour and 5 hour. That's what I used to trade ORBs. We've not been in a trending market for some months now, for some weeks even. So is this a deceiving bottom tail candle on the 15-minute chart? So we've got big CPI candle. We pulled back down into that area of confidence. That's another reason I liked it as well for the long earlier. And then whoever got triggered in there, they're now sweating it out a bit now because they've just been triggered in on that buy, on that breakout. And it's now putting in a red candle. We can see who got triggered in by looking at the order flow and the footprint charts. So you can see a lot of people, a lot of buyers sitting here around 75, 87. Yes, about right, just above that area. Buyers came in, sellers, to be fair, there were sellers there as well. More aggressive sellers as well. Selling divergence and selling imbalances. So not looking good for the long at the moment. 10 minutes till the news, or just over 10 minutes till the news comes in. Here you go. So this is a bit like the trade I took yesterday on my case study 7 in my book, the break and retest of the orb. So it's basically an orb break with marginal volume and a retest as an ad. I didn't do an ad, but there's a case study I added in there on how to take it. I've literally got almost every type of ORB label. So you've got a double fake out day where it tried to break and rejected and tells you not to take it and what to look out for. Short side expansion breakdowns, they're the good ones. They're the ones I like the most, especially when it just, and these are real, some of these are real trades I've taken as well. Compression that failed to expand. So that's one where I think I stopped out on that one, but it compressed, took out, but it was marginal volume breaking out. In fact, I label up the volume. So some really good examples in this book. So, and I talk about the environment as well, what to look for, trend days, ranging days, inside days. So it literally is you can literally pick this book up and just start trading it. It's really good, beginner friendly as well. Sorry, the market's doing nothing, so I've got nothing to talk about at the moment other than just what's in front of me. I just happened to have my orb book open. Craig says he's green 360 on eval. Good for you. Well done. Now walk away. I won't be offended if you turn your computer off and walk away and don't say goodbye or anything, but now's a good time to walk away. Or you could paper trade only. Don't use your eval. Set up your demo account, or you can sit down and look at that trade, evaluate it. Did you write, another Craig, when I spoke to you, I said write down your emotions before, during and after. Did you do that for that trade as well? And then Andrew says NQ is barcode and ES is stuck right in the middle of PDH and PDL, previous day high and low. So sitting on hands for now. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's not good. There's nothing really to even talk about. I'm just sitting on, well, I'm sitting on hands as well. News coming out 8 minutes. hopefully Craig doesn't mind me saying this, but I've messaged him in the Discord privately, and one of the things I said to do, and I think everyone should do this, is that's what gave me the idea for the 10-second reset as well before a trade. In fact, Craig, you helped me come up with that idea when we was chatting, was to write down your emotions before, after, and during the trade, and then do that for every single trade, and just find out what is your breaking point, what causes you to overtrade, what causes you to revenge trade or have FOMO. Is it the fact that you had a bad stoppage? Is it the fact that you missed a trade and you wanted to jump in? You don't want to wait for you didn't have any patience for the next setup after missing a trade. And it affects me, it affects everyone. I go through those emotions every single day. And I've been doing this now 6 years, 5 years, something like that. What's it now? 2026? Probably 2022 is when I started getting more serious about it. So 4 years, let's say 4 years full time. And it's the toughest thing I've ever done. I mean, proper tough. And I've done a lot of tough things. I was just saying last night, I have a private mental toughness group. We talk with each other every Monday. And I was just saying, I've developed software and watched my software work with live World War II explosives and bombs. And that's a tough environment to work in, but nowhere near as tough as trading. As you probably gathered, I'm a software developer by trade, hence why I designed all my indicators. And I've been in other high volatile environments, which I can't talk about, but just as equally as dangerous as what I just explained. Especially when I've written the software. Now that's when you sweat, thinking, damn, did I remember to comment out that line of code which I thought might break it? And you're thinking, damn, this could explode in a minute. And you take a step back. To be fair, you take about a 1 kilometer step back on these type of stuff. But anyway, so we're coming up to the orb high again. We're definitely holding this range. Another stressful environment, and not quite related, but when I was running my computer shops, just before people go back to school in September, I remember I used to have a queue of people outside my door, everybody leaving their computer repairs to the last minute, and they're like arguing, parents are shouting at the kids, you've had all summer to get your laptop fixed and you're going to university tomorrow morning, why have you just told us now? Everyone demanded they want their computers fixed yesterday, and that can be quite stressful as well. But unless you know how to manage stress, nothing's stressful unless you manage it well. And I expect that again, get that every September. Got loads of panicking people, kids off to college and uni, ignored all of their computer problems all summer. They only have 6 weeks to get it fixed. And that's my quietest time as well. So I encourage people, if you're in that same boat, you've got kids about to go to college or uni or school and their computers are not fixed, do your local computer shop a favour. Get it done in the summer. Not only do you give them work when it's quietest, also it's stress-free for you and for the computer shop owner. Look at this then, Divergence. Price is putting in lower highs, kind of equal lows. Delta's putting in higher highs and higher lows. Definitely not trading with the news event coming up. We're holding this ORB upper range between the midpoint and the opening range. So we are compressing with reducing volume. So we might have a big expansion next. Little bit of a bull flag there, potentially. let's see what happens. Do we get a big green volume bar? Do we see a big green delta bar? And do we see lots of aggressive buyers coming in on the footprint with extra volume? So I've marked up all the areas I look at on this chart. This is what I do for my split-second decision if I'm going to make an entry or not. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, at least 5 places. Hence why I've got all these on my screen in front of me, and they're all within my eyesight as well. So I don't have to. I don't want things on another one. I'd have to be rotating my head around, and that's why I'm quite quick at getting in. That's why you probably see me when I'm taking these quick scalp trades. I've got to go now. I get in, and I explain later because I've literally just seen it all setting up. Volume declining, price is holding. We got some aggressive buyers coming in now. News coming in just exactly 2 minutes. Do me a favour. Have a look at my clock. Oh, in fact, I'm not sure I got my clock showing because I had my summer sale advert running. Let me hide that. In the bottom corner of my clock, it says, hang on, let me move. I'll lift up my clock. I just want to see what the delay is on YouTube. Wait, I'll read out a time when it hits exactly 14:59. Have a look at your clock and tell me how many seconds behind. I've got 20 seconds before it gets to 14:59. That's 9:59 Eastern time. I just want to see what the delay is on YouTube. So in 10 seconds, it's 58, 51, 2, 3. And if someone can let me know what the time is at their end when I say right now. So 59 exactly. Just want to see what the lag is on YouTube. Hopefully somebody caught that. Craig says 10 seconds. Andrew says 10. Oh, 10 seconds. Wow. Okay. And Craig timed it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. It just gives me an idea. Oh, Sonny says 7. I suppose it also depends on where people are in the world, because obviously I'm in the UK. I'm using US server, so there's a big round trip there. News in 20 seconds. This is exciting because I want to see what happens to my indicator as well. See whether little fixes I had yesterday improves the performance when we get loads of candles come in. Because at one point yesterday, I think I was out by 2 minutes. That's why I was just mentioned. That's what I was wondering. So 10 seconds is roughly, it sounds like, the delay. So news is out. Are we getting a response to it? I suppose it's someone speaking. It's not actually a news event, is it? So it could be any time while this guy's chatting away. I'll also look at my streaming settings to see whether I can do something to increase the quality. Stream latency. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but nothing. I can't ask AI in ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. It's great. I use it for everything. I even use it to edit my books as well. It's brilliant. Honestly, the editing in a book. I'll just put it in. All right, I just put it into ChatGPT. I took a screenshot of my YouTube setup as well. Hopefully it might be able to recommend some better settings for me. Okay. Okay, well, he reckons I can improve it. So I'll try that for tomorrow and we'll try it again. I don't want to close the stream right now. Here we go. We're having a reaction now. Negative reaction. Look at this as a let's just zoom in and go to the top as a delta flip. And we had green deltas coming in, increase in volume, and then big volume candle, minus negative delta. We had lack of buyers, lots of sellers. You can see there's light buyers on the ask, more sellers on the bid. And then we had a big green candle with lack of follow through, no follow through. And then look at this, selling imbalances, loads of them, a massive negative candle, lack of buyers. Look at that, so thin volume on buying. And again, here we had a small, relatively small delta. So possibly we could have found a rejection here. Negative delta on a green candle, and we pulled back. Not really the follow through on a green candle. We could have taken it short. I'm just saying, assuming we took it short at 75.81, where would that leave us? I don't know what the price is doing. But we could have, yeah, we could have scalped that. So again, I talk about these and I will document this later as well, because these are plays I look for later, or I might look for later. Not at the moment because I've got a strict set of criteria for my trades, but I'm looking for better scalps. I want scalping the news. Maybe that could be a strategy for the future, or a news outcome. I did the same on CPI earlier and saw a potential bounce as well, and I could have scalped that long today, 8:30. Okay, so that's something, and I'll write this down and I'll document it. I've got a document I keep on Google Drive, potential strategies. Recommend everyone do that as well. I'm rewriting my code at the moment for my delta flips as well, because you get some false positive delta flips like here, and it's going to be more accurate, but it will probably won't form until at least 2 or 3. It'll have a forming one, because what happens at the moment is it creates a delta flip when it sees one, but then it doesn't do anything if it fails. Like this one here, it saw the delta flip, but then it continued. There's continuation in the downside. So in the new code, it will still tell us a delta flip, and then 2 or 3 candles later, depending on what threshold I set, it will reconfirm that. Or I'm trying to get it down to 1 candle if I can. So if it breaks the low of that candle, then it will say this is an unconfirmed delta flip, or it will still keep it there, but it just changes it. I'm not sure to change the color or fade the color, but yeah, so that's a really good change of my strategy I'm looking to do, and that will make it clearer. Even though it's pretty, look at that for a delta flip, that's smack bang on at the top as well. But this will just avoid the extra noise you get with the other ones, the false positives basically. And that's part of the delta, not the delta, that's part of my Footprint Pro indicator. And I've got some really good features I'm adding into that over the next 6 months as well, over the next few months, over the next few weeks as well. Got a nice new roadmap I built. So we're still inside that opening range, 15-minute opening range. We're still inside yesterday's daily range. We're still inside the weekly range, the monthly range. And it's just not looking very exciting at the moment. So if I'm going to trade, what I'll be looking for is a bounce down at yesterday's low, this region. And that's part of my pre-market plan. Reason I like it, if you remember, I zoomed out onto the hourly chart. We'll bring this in. And you can see a nice big volume shove running through that area, 75.55. It's funny, that's an area I've marked up for some months now. It's definitely a few weeks. It's a key area for me. It's always been a key area. That number keeps coming back. Even when we were like way above it, it came back and became a base area. So 75.55, that number we keep hearing all the time. So that's now I'm watching today for a bounce. If we lose it, I look for a rejection. But if there's no trades to take in the next half an hour, so I won't bother, and I'm happily go out and spend time in my garden. I'm making the most of the nice sunny weather we've got here in the UK. We're on our 3rd heat wave in less than 3 months. That's unheard of. Thank you, El Nino. Apparently it's down to El Nino or something. Andrew says NQ had a nice flag break. NQ. Is that the breakdown short? But I've only got the 15-minute open on NQ. But my indicator held up. The Footprint Pro had no lag whatsoever in that news event, which is good. Just waiting for Trump now to put a tweet out there. Still not interested in any trades at the moment. Nothing really looks good. It could be a day when we walk away. Going back to Craig's 360, by the way, don't forget message me with your journal as well. Happy to review it. I'm really only interested. I don't really care too much about your entries, your exits, but just give me the setups and the emotions. And also then it's in writing and you can refer back to that as well. I did have a journal. Hang on, where's my journal? This one here. So you could, here's a good journal you can use. This was based on Jared Tendler's a little bit. I made it, it's on Amazon, but I don't think I'm selling it on Amazon. I made it and put it on Amazon just so I can get it printed out as a book. But inside here, so I might replicate this in my mental toughness framework. Inside there I got emotions. I've got a digital, in fact, message me. This is for anyone. I've got a digital version of this, of a journal you can print out every day. And you can tick off all of your emotions. And this is like set up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just general emotions for the day. For example, patient, precise. It's like Jared Tendler goes in about game A, your A game, B game, C game. I really recommend reading this book, by the way. Jared Tendler's Mental Game of Trading, I think it's called. Really, really recommend it. It's very, very good. But I made a journal. Basically, all it is a year's worth of logs. I started using an online journal in the end. I use TradeZella. I'm actually making my own online journal. But I was marking up every single day. It's really good. I like putting it in writing as well. Okay, Craig, thank you. I will take a look after the market if that's okay. But yeah, really recommend having a journal, whether it's a written down one like that, one you write down, whether it's just a note you put into Google Documents, or whether it's just a TradeZella or TradesViz, any of the ones out there. There's some really good journals out there. TradeZella's one I like. I like TradeViz, that's one of the cheaper ones, but it's so slow. I think it's because I was based in the UK and their servers are in the US. So I switched over to TradeZella, and TradeZella's just as good. Probably better. I think there's a link in the description as well. I get a little kickback if you use my link as well. If I can get my TradeZella reduced in price, I don't get any money. I think they just take the money off the annual renewal. So I appreciate if you use my link if you go down TradeZella route. So when I use myself, it's very, very good. But I also log my trades on my Discord as well. And if you're a premium member, you see some of the trades I put in there and my notes. So sometimes I'm logging my trades in more than one place. Don't always journal, I must admit. But I do always talk about my trades. And I have a pre-market plan and and obviously I've got my videos I do every day. So kind of my pre-market prep is kind of talking about my trades, and I sometimes talk about the previous day trades. So I try to make sure at least I have something either written down, spoken out loud. It's about having other people being your critic, basically, and accountability. That's what I'm looking for. This market right now is just not doing anything. It is not good at all. Nasdaq's looking slightly weaker. It's broken the opening range low. Let's have a look. Is it an actual opening range breakdown? It's not, because it's a reduced volume. Let me show you on my screen. So Nasdaq, perfect opening range. Oh, well, maybe not perfect. Could do have been a solid smaller bar, but it's on reduced volume, and it's also bounced off the 50, off the 20 moving average as well, and it's off of that confluence area as well. So 20, so not an ideal, not an A++ setup, but I do try to be mechanical, and that's not an entry for me because it's reduced volume. But to be fair, it is a much smaller candle than the previous candle, and it's almost equal volume. So maybe you could have some exceptions. I wouldn't be happy going into this area of confluence though, so I'd like to see it clearing pivots. Like if it's down here, it'd be much better. Not for me anyway, because it hasn't broken, it hasn't created any rules. And look at that, how horrible is that trading? This is the ES, both of them, bottom tail, top in tail, bottom tail, bottom tail, top in tail, bottom tail, top in tail, and then down here, bottom tail, top in tail. Not nice. Sonny says, thanks for the session. Have a good one, everyone. Yep, thank you. Appreciate you coming by. It's not a great day for trading. I would most likely be sitting on hands now. I'm not going to get involved in this chop. And Craig says, have a good day, Paul. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good job and good trading today. I may even call it a day myself. I just want to see if we see anything happen in the next few minutes. Otherwise, I'm calling it. Otherwise, you might get to watch me sleep live on camera. I'm sure there's an OnlyFans page for that. These are the days when you need to know not to take the trades. So you need to realise you're in a funny market condition. The environment's not great. The setup's not great. We're sitting inside that CPI candle. We're topping tail, bottom tails and stuff we just spoke about as well. And what makes a good trader is knowing when to walk away and not to trade. You don't have to be busy trading every day. I find it hard walking away, I must admit. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I've ever had a day. I've had a few days where I've sat down, sat on hands and watched the market and not traded. To be fair, those are the times when I've made payouts through Apex and Top Step. I'm trying not to force trades now. I've been chopped around so much over the last month or two because of the market conditions. Here we go. Is this an opening range breakdown candle? We've got almost 4 minutes already, and volume is increasing. Look at the delta as well. So the rules are, it opened below the opening range. It's kind of smack bang on it. So it's just below it on TradingView, so I'm happy with that. We are coming into yesterday's low, so not ideal, and pre-market low. So not ideal, I must admit. I'd rather see the opening range set up. I'll decide whether I'm going to take it or not, but I want to see it come down and maybe pull back and look for a break and retest short. So maybe that's a better play. And anyway, we're not below the opening range opening range low now anyway. Again, don't forget, I'm watching 75.50 for a bounce. So we need to have plenty of risk. We need to have plenty of room to get down there, and there's not on here. So for me, it's not a great short. You know, we don't want to be going short into key levels. We don't want to be going short into confluence, point of controls, yesterday's or key levels like yesterday's low, pre-market low. So it makes it a tough short, and it's in a tough range. I can't emphasize the fact how tough the range is at the moment. But I did say watch it for a bounce. 75.55 is a bounce area. And what do we get to? 75.56, is that right? 56. So in the zone for a bounce. We don't just take it because it hit that level. Big area of confidence, that's why I liked it there. A little bit of a volume shelf on the 5 minute, on the 15 minute. But you expect that on the confidence. It's pre-market as well. 217 delta, 280, 220, small negative delta, bigger positive, and then a negative delta. Let's see where follow through here. This could also be a break and retest of orb. Depends on what time frame. I like to see an air gap. When I say that, I like to see it have a couple of candles breaking down, a couple of candles pulling back at an equal angle. So I want to see it break down at 45 degrees, come back at 45 degrees. So it kind of looks like more of an algorithmic break and retest of the level. Then look for extra volume here from sellers as we break back down. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But I'll hang around now to see what happens. Even though we had all that aggressive sellers coming in that last candle, look at that. The buyers bought up all of that selling pressure. Big bottom tail candle on the delta. So maybe that's the bounce area we just spoke about. Might be triggering. But I wouldn't just get in. I'd look for confirmation. You know, buying delta. A break of the 2 minute trend at least. You know, it's not good enough just getting in until we see that. We want to see buyers step up. Lack of sellers. We're seeing lack of sellers, by the way, right now, which is a good sign. We're holding this 2 minute trend at the moment. We could be breaking it. Looks like we might be breaking it over 75.72. Is that number again? 75.72. I think that's the area I got in earlier, wasn't it? 75.72. It was, yeah. We're back in that area again. Buying imbalances. Aligned point of control. Buying imbalances at the low. Lack of sellers. At the moment, it looks good for a buy. Green candle, negative delta, no follow through. Red candle, positive delta. Let's see what happens here. If we can't put in a new high at 75.73, then that's sellers absorbing buyers up here. If we put in a new high, the buyers absorbed all those sellers. That's a seller exhaustion. So 2 minute chart's broken, delta's broken. Here we go. Now we just put in a new high. Could we find a long? I might try a long over midpoint. I want to see it break that 5 minute bottom tail candle. And that'll be my risk candle on my 250k account. This will be a buy setup. In fact, I might be getting exciting, but it tick off one of my A+ setups. It's not a breakout, ORB breakout. It's not an ORB retest. It's not an opening drive. It's not a consolidation breakout. It's not a delta divergence. Well, technically, it's a delta divergence reversal. So that's my 3 out of 5 star setup. The one I like to see it with other things. These are my rules here. I'll put it on my screen for a second. This one here, delta divergence reversal. And remember my rules. A+ setups only, maximum 3 trades. I did 3 trades on this yesterday and got back to -1R. I took a losing trade, then I had that big whip out with a Trump tweet, and then later on I took the break and retest off the ORB short. Probably over trading, but that's it. So now we're breaking out. Let's just see whether we get volume on this breakout. We've got selling imbalances, buying imbalances. Look at this, all these buyers. I'm going to go for 2 contracts long. My stop is going to be at 75.56. That's the area I was watching for a bounce. We talked about it earlier. My target is going to be yesterday's high. That gets me 1.5 R roughly. I've given myself a wide stop. 75.45. So again, with this play, with this strategy, I'm giving myself bigger stops, which means I could stay in the trade longer. I could have scalped it. I was eyeing up the scalp. You probably gathered that from when I was looking at the bottom, the delta flip at the bottom. And look at that for a perfect delta flip. Let me just go back. Big negative deltas coming in, a delta flip literally at the bottom, and then aggressive buyers coming in. I probably would have, if I was looking for a scalp, I probably would have waited for the break of this red candle. We consolidated, probably would have been that candle there. My stop would have been at 75.60, that area there, about 10 ticks, and it would have done really well. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to have 2, I'm going to put another stop in for 1 contract, just to lower my risk, because I want to try and get it as close to $500, $750 loss as possible, but it's hard with such a big candle. So 73, so it's about $20 risk. It's about $1,000, yeah, so it's about $1,000. So if I reduce, again, I'm just doing a quick calculation in my head. Mayo says, have a good day. Yeah, thank you, Mayo. Appreciate you coming back. So I'm going on this Delta divergence break. We waited for the 2 minute to break. We saw aggressive buyers come in, and I was just waiting for us to get over this 5 minute bottom tail candle. And we also cleared the 50 moving average, the 20 moving average, and the midpoint. It's kind of going against me a little bit now. This is probably bigger than $1,000 stop, so I'm going to be kind of tightening up. So I'm going to be holding the bottom of this. I probably like it there as well. I do like my stop at 75.64 is my stop. Again, I'm giving myself wider stops on these plays. So the Delta divergence worked perfectly if you're scalping. I do want to try and I want to see it break out so I can just tighten my stops up a little bit. One thing I don't like doing, I don't do, is move my stops to give myself wider, but I'm happy to tighten up my stops. What's NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ's just sitting at the orb, kind of bounce off the VWAP. Dow Jones is looking okay, pretty strong. Russell looking weak. Bitcoin's looking good for a long, by the way. So's gold. Oil's kind of not doing much. And SPX, it's just filled a gap today. It's filled yesterday's gap. And then a big bottom tail. Delta's looking strong. Look at this big divergence here, massive divergence. So this is our entry here. Looking good. We are breaking out now. That's why we like to give it. That's why I want to give this extra stopping distance for this exact reason, to give it more breathing space, so I don't do on my scalps. Although we are running out of steam here. Lack of buyers, to be fair, lack of sellers as well. Sellers are not very look, reduced selling delta. So still looks good for the long. Buyers are stepping up now in this last candle. Look how thin that selling candle is. Very small negative delta candle. Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good day at school?
Yeah.
My daughter to come in from school. Oh, didn't realise I was on camera. Bye. Good day today?
Yeah.
Good. Bye. So where are we? Just sitting at the midpoint. Now my family's coming home, I'm probably going to call it a day. I'm just going to let this trade play out. I am looking to try and tighten up my stops. Ideally on this 250k account, I don't want a bigger than $1,000 loss, but my stops as they are a bit bigger than 1,000. Slight misjudgment. I probably should have taken one contract, not two. Hence why I'm looking to tighten up as quickly as I can. I won't walk away at the moment. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But while we're getting low volume, low selling delta, I still like it long. We've got aggressive buyers coming in. I saw in the corner of my eye that we poked up over my break even, right at my break even point now. So it's still looking good for the long. Look at the delta, aggressive buyers coming in. Aggressive buyers here, lack of sellers on this candle. Lack of sellers, so it still looks good for the long at the moment. I'm trying to fine tune my hold it strategy. I'm going to put my mic on mute for a second because I've just say hello to my family. Just got in. I'll leave my screen up though. I'm back. Just say hello to my kids, just got home from school, which is nice. This is working out now, this trade. Looking good at the moment, so I'm going to be tightening soon. I'm up $700 on this at the moment. Opening range high, that's the area I said I was looking to target. Let's get my risk to reward tool. So I'm going to have 2, that one there. So 1R would be 79, just below 7600 is 1R. 2R would be yesterday's high, so that's kind of the 2 areas I'm looking at. Let's just put some targets in. That's based on that candle I took my risk on. Sell limit, I'll do 1 there. In fact, I'll show you, someone asked me this other day, I'll show you how to do an OCR on NinjaTrader. Let's just get rid of that, make it clearer. I get rid of my 2 stops. So here's how you do it. So you right click this panel here and your OCO order, you click that and it ticks it. Then you put in your stop. So my stop will be the or below. And I'm just going to make it 1 contract. I have 2 stops. So my stop, sell stop market 1, and then your target will be just below 76. Limit, and then that's the first OCR order, and you go back in. Oh, what happened there? I don't know what just happened, but it just took it out, just took me out. I've still got 1 contract left. Maybe we just spiked up and I wasn't paying attention. Do you know what? I'm going to close because I don't like seeing the data happening like this, so I'm out. I'm not a big fan of what I just saw. It definitely took something. Look at this, my backlog, do not trade. In fact, both my charts are lagging behind. So this is not a footprint issue. It's a platform or rhythmic issue. Or are they? 75.90, 75.93. Yeah, a little bit behind on both the candlesticks there. Okay, well, if you have any issues, always get out. And I'm out now. Let's just double check my rhythmic. Yeah, I'm definitely out. No trades. But I did make $1,600 on that trade. There you go, that wasn't bad. I was aiming to make, I was risking 1,000 to make 2,000, so I wasn't far off my target. But you know, when you see things like this happen, then that's when you get out. It says here, look at this. I'm 41 seconds behind. That's why I programmed it to 33 seconds. So it's catching up. It's gone mental here. One of my jobs in the summer is to do a complete wipe and reinstall on my computer and just have it as a dedicated trading platform. And all my video editing and my software development will be on my other PC, which you can't see. It's just off camera, just over there. It's a decent PC. I've got a decent graphics card for it. So anyway, I'm out. I'm done with that trade and I'm done for trading for the day. That's 2 trades, 2 winning trades, a scalp on the opening, and this divergence, cumulative delta divergence play on my 250k account. So if you're in the Discord, I've got a 250k account channel now where I just comment on what I do. Again, I'm not a big fan when I see something like this happen in the market. But I'm back to live again now. So this is much better. Before it would lag behind because it would be processing all of the data behind, all of the previous candles. It'd be behind for a long time, 20 minutes up to an hour sometimes, because it's processing, it never catches up. But now it processes the live data coming in, and I've got a funny feeling it could be down to rhythmic rather than my platform. But if I do a wipe and reinstall, that'll prove it for sure, because I got TradeZella on my other machine. On my other machine, the stream which is on my other YouTube stream, and TradeZella, I don't have any issues with data. It just displays. But then that's a dedicated running these charts. But it's a slower computer, much slower computer, really old computer. It's a little tiny computer, no bigger than the size of my hand as well, and that's handling it fine. So I don't think it's down to resources. So it's definitely, I think it's just down to the data coming in. If anybody here is trading with me, and if you notice any data lag on your platform a few minutes ago, let me know. But we have got an official orb break now, by the way. Depends whether you want to take it on that big topping tail candle, and depends whether you want that risk to reward. 73.75. That's a $25 risk. We've got yesterday's high and pre-market high. For me, it's not a trade. I won't trade into key levels. Yesterday's high, pre-market high, so I won't take that. But there is a break and retest of orb right now with a smaller candle. You should get better risk to reward. But I've done my trading. I've had my one trade, my one scalp. I've done my one 250k account scalp. Cumulative Delta, by the way, looks really good, looking strong for longs at the moment. A slight divergence in play coming in right now. There you go, look at that. We tapped the 15-minute orb high. So how would I take this opening range break and retest? I would wait for this candle to form. It's tapped the orb low. My stop will be below this candle. My entry will be the break of that candle long. Go back to my example in my book. I'm sure I've got it. I know I've got it in it, I saw it earlier. And this is one of my favourite breaks because it's one of the ones that works pretty much most of the time because you've got all this extra confirmation. Obviously now I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Here's another thing I never mentioned in my book. I also give you the break-even rules as well. And this is the ORB playbook, break-even rules. When to break even. So trend days, I allow movement. On a range day, I protect quickly. And on inside day, I protect unless expansion confirms. So basically, you work out what the environment. This is now an official break-in bar on this ORB, by the way. Here we go. Break and retest. That's from the book. High probability setup. And you can see where I give you the exact entry criteria. Entry and my stop. Exactly what this is doing right now. Exactly this. On increased volume on the breaking candle. Reduced volume now on this pullback candle. That's lower volume, but it is a smaller candle. If this has got a higher volume, which we'll find out in the next 4 minutes, then it will be a good breakout candle. That's what we're looking for, break on higher volume. And I even go through it with some examples, and that's a good example there of the volume profile I'm looking for. So, like I said, it's a really good strategy, ORB, and it's a really good book. I've been writing it for about 6 months. And it's cheap. And you don't get many trading, any legitimate trading strategies or resources cheap these days. Obviously, you come on here every day, I'll explain what I'm going to do for free. I can't get any cheaper than that. Right, I'm calling it a day now. It's getting really hot. The sun is just coming over. You can see if I can move my camera, the sun is just about to come through that window now. Ignore the fact the windows need a clean. So that's when it gets really hot in here, and I draw the curtains and stuff. Again, I'm in the UK and we've got sun. I know, shock. I don't usually have those words in the same sentence. So I still do like the long. I like this break and retest now. I've taken my trade, so I'm happy to walk away now. Another key element on mindset or mental toughness, knowing when to walk, even if you're up and you know there's a trade setting up. And I'm going to walk now. I'll leave my screen on for a bit, and then I'll go back, and then it will turn off in the next half an hour or so. So have a really good day trading. Trade safe. Remember, A+ setups only. If you're interested in my footprint indicator, this one here, which is really good, then it's available right now 50% off on my store. Use the code SUMMER26. It's only available to the end of the month. Then I probably won't have another promotion this year. Maybe Black Friday, but you know, as I'm adding new features, I'm putting the price up. So when I add all these new features in, probably by the end of the year, the price will definitely be going up to cover the cost of all my development. So good time to get it. Lifetime license. You get all the updates and features for the cost you pay, and it's 50% off right now. Right, have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, 9 AM Eastern Time or 2 PM here in the UK. Okay, trade safe, no over trading, no silly setups, no what's the word? Gut feeling trades. They're the ones that was eating me the most in the last few weeks. And trade safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. In fact, going back, I don't like the setup now, but it's invalidated, in case you're wondering. We've broken that candles. Could have been triggered in, but it's invalidated now. So if you haven't got in and think about getting in on a break and retest, it's not valid. Again, if we have a break and retest with an air gap, then that would be better. I just thought I'd just throw that in. And also we've got negative delta coming in, a big topping tail. So I remember I said I wasn't a big fan going long into this topping tail. It's a big rejection on this ORB as well. Even though it's an official ORB breaking candle, I'm not a big fan of it. Anyway, see you tomorrow.